Hey, what's up everybody? So today I got a call from a customer that's been away for the holidays for over a month now, and they came back and their fish tank is just completely just covered in green hair algae. I've been in there. It's a big mess. There's green hair algae, there's cyanobacteria. It's just really bad. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a deep cleaning. We're going to do a decent sized water change and really try to clean up this tank the best we can. Now, we're not going to get rid of everything in the first visit. There's obviously a water chemistry issue that we have to address, but I'm going to show you. But right now, let's just do our big cleaning. Let's try to get rid of as much of the hair algae as possible. Let's go inside and I'll show you guys exactly what we're dealing with. But first, this job's a little bit more difficult than normal because it is on the 5th floor, which means we got to run buckets, and which means we have to run buckets up there, and it's gonna make it that much more difficult to do a big water change, but we'll figure it out. Now, I usually don't like using garbage cans to do water change. We have a specific container, water container, usually for water changes that are on places where we can't reach with our hoses, but because of the condo that we're in, we have to be really discreet. So I have to use a garbage can today with this little cart. It'll do the job, so it's all good. So here we are at the tank, and just look at this. I mean, this is maybe one of the worst green hair algae, tanks that I've ever seen. It is everywhere, and we're also getting some cyanobacteria in here too. You can see on some of the green hair algae. But all of the rock is just completely coated in algae, and it's even starting to stretch up. Now, a couple months back, this tank was doing great. Everything. I mean, there wasn't any algae. There was no cyanobacteria. There was nothing. The corals. There was a lot more corals in this tank, and they were all thriving. They were all encrusting. They were all growing. And fast forward to now, and this is where we're at. So I got my trusty toothbrush here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and brush off this algae. It's coming off really easy, so that's a good sign. It's not on there really good. It's a good sign that it's starting to die, and it's not a really deep green. It's kind of a grayish color, which also is a good sign that hopefully it's starting to die off. So I'm just gonna scrape the rocks as much as I can, get it into the water column, and try to siphon it out. So here we are after I brushed all that algae off the rocks. I got as much as I possibly could. There's a lot. There's definitely a lot. You can see it here floating in the water column. I'm not gonna lie, but this is very discouraging because I know this tank was thriving, months back, and to see it like this, it's a bit frustrating because a lot of work went into getting it to look good. But it is what it is, and this is where I'm at right now. So I'm just gonna try to keep scrubbing. Got no option now but to get it out. So this is what we have so far from the water change. You get a look at all that algae. That is a ton of algae getting out of that tank. Nasty. And this is a 32-gallon garbage can. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump this. Now, this isn't something that I'm gonna be able to do with just one trip, with one visit. We're gonna have to this is gonna take a couple of visits to get this situation under control, because it's been, we didn't catch, we weren't able to get here sooner because he's been on vacation, and nipped this in the butt, when we first saw signs of this algae growing. So now we're gonna just have to really put the work in to try to get this tank balanced again. Now I am gonna add a bag of GEFO right here. Now, the phosphates didn't test high when I did the test, but they definitely are high if there's green hair algae growing. And a lot of times when you have green hair algae, you'll do a test and the phosphates will seem low, but in actuality, the hair algae is sucking up the phosphate faster than you can test for it. But the good news is that the green hair algae isn't strong on the rocks, and it appears to kind of be turning to mush, so it is dying. So that's a good sign. But when it does die, it releases all that extra nutrients into the water column, so we have to do a big water change to be able to counteract that. I'm gonna go ahead and put some GFO in here just in case, keep the phosphates under control, because all that's getting released into the water column. So when all those excess nutrients get released into the water column, the green hair algae does die, but what you end up having, or what you end up seeing, is an increase in cyanobacteria and some brown algae even. So we gotta make sure we do a decent enough water change, and probably be back here relatively soon to make sure that we don't just transition from one algae to another. So this is where we're at. This is where I'm ending my day. We got a decent amount off of the rocks. Now there's still some pockets where the green hair algae still there. But like I said, we can't do this in one trip. I've already been here for, I think, about 3 hours, and I have other jobs to do. But we've made some progress, and the idea now is just to try to, give the beneficial bacteria time to claim real estate on the rock and outcompete the green hair algae. And hopefully with this water change too, it'll make it. We're just trying to make life difficult for the green hair algae, as difficult as possible. But this is where we're at right now. This is kind of where I'm going to leave it. Like I said, it's a process. It's not all going to happen at once. So I talked to the owner, and I think we're going to be coming back once a week until we get this completely under control. As opposed to once a month. So I am excited about that, so we can hopefully get rid of this a lot quicker and get this tank stabilized. So we did what we could do today, given the time that we have. I've been here for a while now. I got other jobs to get to. But I think doing this a natural way through water changes and monitoring the nutrient level in the tank is the way to go, because I think long-term that's going to give you the best, going to set you up best for success. I don't think carbon dosing, by doing no pox or vibrant or anything like that, is that can take us too far in the other direction, and then you're going to be dealing with brown algae and cyano and stuff like that. So I think, we just keep going in there, we pulling it out. The algae is dying, so that is a good sign, and so hopefully it'll get better in the long term. So it does look a little bit messy. Now it's been a bit since we've been here, but we got on a monthly schedule because the tank was doing great. But instead of coming once a month, we're going to start coming probably once a week now, to try to just be done with this algae once and for all. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'll take my lunch break here, guys. What do you think? It's a nice little view overlooking the water. Yeah, I think I'll take my lunch break here. Beautiful 70-degree day in Jupiter, Florida. No, I'm just playing. I got to get back to work. I got jobs to do. I wish. All right, you guys have a good one.